The crash site was silent, but not peaceful. Broken metal burned softly under a dark alien sky. Strange blue fire flickered around the wreckage. Cold wind moved across the sand like a warning. In the middle of the wreckage, a human scout lay on the ground. His name was Evan. He was alone, injured, and far from home. His small scout ship was destroyed. The emergency signal was weak. No rescue was coming soon. Evan slowly pushed himself up. Pain moved through his body, but he did not scream. Humans learned long ago how to suffer in silence. This planet was not on any friendly map. It was a border world, controlled by powerful alien factions. Humans were not welcome here, to most of the galaxy. Humans were weak. They were smaller, slower, short-lived. Aliens believed humans survived only because stronger races allowed it. Evan knew this. That knowledge made survival harder, but it also made him careful. As he checked his broken equipment, he heard something. A sound, soft, broken, and full of fear. It was crying. Evan froze. His hand moved toward the small weapon on his belt. Aliens crying usually meant danger. Many alien species used pain as bait. He listened again. The sound was real, not a trap. It was weak, lonely. He followed the sound through twisted metal. Behind a broken engine piece, he saw her, an alien girl. She was small, smaller than Evan. Her skin was pale silver. Her eyes were large and glowing softly. One of her legs was trapped under debris. She looked up and saw him. Fear filled her eyes. Her species had heard stories about humans, stories full of lies. She tried to pull away, but she was too weaker. Breathing was fast. Her body was cold. Evan raised his hand slowly. He did not speak. He did not move closer yet. The girl waited for pain, for cruelty, for death. That was what humans were supposed to bring. But Evan did none of that. He carefully lifted the metal from her leg. The effort made him wince. Blood ran from his own wounds. But he did not stop. When she was free, she collapsed. Her body shook. The planet's temperature was dropping fast. Evan removed his coat. It was thick, warm, and designed for deep space missions. Without it, he would freeze sooner. He wrapped it around the alien girl. She stared at him in shock. Why would a human do this? He helped her sit against the wreckage. Then he sat on the ground nearby, keeping distance, showing trust. High above them, shadows moved. Alien patrol ships were scanning the crash zone. Evan saw the lights. He knew what would happen if they were found. Humans captured on this planet did not return. The alien girl noticed the lights too. Fear returned to her eyes. Her species was hunted here as well. Two enemies, hiding from the same threat. Evan checked his scanner. Low power, one signal nearby. More life forms were approaching, not friendly. He looked at the girl, then at the dark horizon, then back at the wreckage. This crash was no accident. This planet was no random place. Someone wanted this ship down. Someone wanted no survivors. Evan slowly stood up. Pain burned through his body, but his eyes were calm. Humans were not the strongest, but they adapted. They endured. They protected. From far away, heavy footsteps echoed across the sand. Whatever was coming was big, and it was close. The alien girl held the coat tightly. For the first time in her life, she felt warmth from a human. And somewhere deep inside her, a thought formed. Maybe the galaxy was wrong about humans. Evan stepped forward into the shadows, between the danger and the one he chose to protect. Hunt had begun. The footsteps grew louder as the night air became heavier. Evan moved slowly across the sand using the wreckage as cover. His breathing was controlled, even as pain burned inside him. Behind him, the alien girl watched with wide eyes. The ground trembled with every step of the approaching figures. These were not small creatures. They were hunters. Built for strength and control, the alien patrol emerged from the darkness. Tall armored beings with glowing visors and heavy weapons. They scanned the area with calm confidence. To them this was a simple job. One of them spoke in a deep voice. No survivors expected. Human craft confirmed destroyed. Evan stayed still. He knew their language. Most humans learned alien tongues to survive. Knowledge was another weapon. The alien girl held the coat tightly around her small body. Her species had no soldiers here, no allies, no hope. She believed the human would run, that he would leave her to save himself. That was what most beings did, but Evan did not run. He carefully activated a small device from his belt. A simple tool, old human tech, often ignored by advanced races. The ground beneath the hunters suddenly collapsed. Sand traps formed by vibration charges. Two of the aliens fell and roared in anger. The patrol reacted fast, weapons raised, scanning wildly. They saw Evan, a single human standing in the open. No armor, no shield. The aliens laughed. A human scout, injured and alone. Evan raised his hand slowly, not in surrender, but to draw attention. Their leader stepped forward. Confident, cruel, humans are foolish, it said. You should have stayed hidden, Evan spoke calmly. You should not hunt children. The words confused them. Aliens valued power, not mercy. In that moment, the alien girl understood something new. Humans fought differently. They fought for reasons beyond survival. The hunters opened fire. Energy shots burned through the air. Evan moved fast, faster than they expected. He used the wreckage, the terrain, the darkness. A smoke charge exploded, blocking vision. Human tactics were messy, unclean, effective. One hunter fell. Then another, not dead, but disabled. The leader roared in anger, calling for backup. Evan knew time was short. He ran back toward the girl, lifting her gently despite his injuries. She was light, fragile, trusting him without words. They moved into a narrow canyon near the crash site. Too small for heavy armor, too unstable for ships. The patrol followed, but slowly now. Caution had replaced arrogance. Inside the canyon, the girl looked at Evan. Her voice was weak but clear. "Why help me?" Evan answered without stopping. "Because someone should." That answer stayed with her, simple, strong. The canyon shook as explosions echoed behind them. The hunters were angry and afraid. Evan activated his last beacon, sending a burst signal into space. Short range, risky. If any human ship was near, they would see it. If not, this planet would be their end. The girl felt warmth, not just from the coat, but from something deeper. Hope. She realized humans were dangerous, not because of weapons, but because they refused to stop. Behind them, the hunters closed in. Ahead, the canyon opened into darkness. Evan stepped forward again, standing between the threat and the one he protected. The galaxy had feared humans for the wrong reasons, and tonight, that mistake would cost lives. The canyon opened into a wide stone field lit by a strange red glow. Tall crystal rocks rose from the ground like silent watchers. The air here was warmer but heavy and hard to breathe. Evan slowed his steps. His body was reaching its limit. Blood soaked his clothes under the torn armor. The alien girl felt his weakness. She held onto him tighter. Her small hands trembled. Behind them, the hunters emerged from the canyon, their armor scratched and damaged, their confidence gone. They spread out carefully, moving like trained predators. No laughter now, only focus. The leader raised a clawed hand, signaling silence. Humans adapt too fast, it growled. Evan placed the girl gently behind a large crystal rock. He knelt in front of her, lowering himself to her level. "Stay here, no matter what happens." Her glowing eyes filled with fear. "You will die." Evan gave a small, tired smile. "Maybe, but not today." He turned and stepped into the open field. Alone again, facing the hunters. The crystals around him began to hum softly, reacting to energy in the air. The alien leader noticed it too late. Evan threw a small metal spike into the ground. Human tech again. Simple. Ignored by advanced races, the spike released a pulse. The crystals responded instantly. Light burst outward. Blinding and loud, the hunters screamed, their sensors overloaded. Their armor locked up. Evan moved fast, using the confusion, targeting joints and power packs. He did not kill, he disabled. One by one the hunters fell, strong bodies trapped in useless metal. The leader fought through the pain, charging forward with raw strength. It slammed Evan into the ground, cracking crystal stone beneath them. Pain exploded through Evan's chest, his vision blurred. The alien raised its weapon, ending this. A sharp sound cut the air. The alien girl stood on the rock, holding Evan's dropped weapon. Her hands shook. But her aim was true. She fired. The shot hit the leader's visor, shattering it. The alien fell back roaring. Silence returned slowly, broken only by heavy breathing. Evan pushed himself up with effort, looking at the girl in disbelief. "You should not have done that." She stepped down carefully, her voice stronger now. "You taught me." He understood. Humans protect, but they also inspire. The ground began to shake again, not from hunters, but from ships, human ships. Blue lights filled the sky. Clean and sharp, rescue crafts descended, weapons ready, scanning the area. The hunters tried to move, but failed. Human soldiers surrounded them. Calm, silent. They did not celebrate. They secured. They protected. A medic rushed to Evan, helping him lie down. "You held them off alone," the medic said. Evan shook his head slowly. "Not alone." The alien girl stood beside him, wrapped in the human coat. The soldiers looked at her carefully, weapons lowered. "She's under our protection," Evan said weakly. No one argued. The ship hovered above the red crystal field, its engines humming softly as it prepared to lift off. Inside, Evan sat quietly, wrapped in a blanket. The alien girl beside him, still shivering from fear and relief. Outside the viewport, the canyon stretched wide. Broken hunters scattered across the ground, some crawling away, others frozen in shock. Evan watched them carefully, even injured. He understood the danger was not over. These aliens were not ordinary. They were clever, patient, and revenge burned. In their eyes, the girl spoke softly. "Why did you save me?" Evan looked at her. "Because someone must. Because strength is nothing without heart." She tried to repeat his words in her language. The sounds clumsy, unfamiliar. He smiled faintly. Good enough. The ship shuddered as it rose, leaving the canyon behind, and for the first time, the girl saw the stars not as distant lights, but as something reachable, something humans had made. Close, the bridge was quiet, except for the low hum of machinery. A large screen showed the planet shrinking below them, red crystals glowing in the distance. Evan reached for a small device on his belt. A scanner pulsed softly, alerting him to incoming signals. They were alien transmissions, short bursts, coded, urgent. The hunters had called for backup. Evan studied the signals carefully. He traced them to a hidden base underground, deep within the mountains of the planet. The girl leaned closer. "Can they follow us?" Evan shook his head slowly. "Not yet, but they are preparing." She stared at him, her glowing eyes wide with understanding. This human, fragile and battered, knew more than anyone could see. Evan switched the scanner to visual mode. The base appeared on the screen, its walls fortified, energy shields active, defenses in place that would take a fleet to break. He frowned. They underestimated humans again. Believed brute force would win, but intelligence and patience could do more than weapons. The girl spoke again. "What will we do?" Evan looked at her. "We learn, we plan, we survive." He explained the hunters' pattern, how they moved, what they expected, how humans could turn their assumptions against them. The girl listened closely, her fear slowly turning into determination. She repeated his words softly. "We learn, we plan, we survive." For hours they worked together, mapping the enemy base, predicting patrol routes, finding weak spots. Evan teaching, the girl learning fast. She realized humans thought in layers, always thinking 2 steps ahead, always preparing for what others ignored. As the ship moved farther from the planet, Evan looked at the stars outside. He could feel the galaxy watching, judging, underestimating, but that was always humanity's secret. No one expected a human to think beyond the obvious, to survive by using the mind as much as the body. The girl asked quietly, "Will we fight them?" Evan nodded. "Yes, but on our terms, not theirs." She understood immediately. This was more than survival. It was strategy. It was justice. It was showing the galaxy what humans really were. The ship's engines thrummed steadily, carrying them away from danger, but Evan's mind stayed on the planet. On the hunters, on the base below, every detail mattered, every decision counted. He reached for the communication panel, sending a small encoded message to Earth, alerting allies without revealing the ship's exact location. The girl watched him, a small smile forming. She had never seen humans work this way before. Not brute, not reckless, but precise, clever, unstoppable outside. The planet grew smaller, the red crystals fading from view. But the lesson remained clear. The galaxy may have believed humans were weak, but strength alone did not define them. Evan leaned back in his seat, feeling pain in every muscle, but calm in his mind. The hunt was not over. The strategy was beginning, and somewhere deep inside, the girl realized humans fought not just for survival, but to show the universe that they were more than anyone expected. The ship moved through the dark space like a silent shadow. Evan leaned against the wall, his body aching, every wound burned, every muscle screamed. But his mind was alert, calculating, planning. The alien girl sat beside him, her small hands clenched around the warm coat. Her glowing eyes reflected the lights from the control panels. She had learned so much from him in the last hours. About humans, about courage, about survival. A sudden alarm broke the quiet. Red lights flashed across the bridge. Incoming transmission from the planet below. It was urgent, aggressive, a challenge. Evan stood slowly, his body heavy with pain. He scanned the message. The hunters had regrouped. They were moving to cut off any human reinforcements, and the underground base was now fully operational. He knew what this meant. The galaxy believed humans were weak. They would not expect the strategy he had planned. He turned to the girl. "We have to go back." She stared at him. "But the ship is damaged, and you are hurt." Evan nodded. "I know, but leaving them to die is not an option." The girl's eyes widened. Humans fight even when they are hopeless. That was something her people never did. They fled when things seemed impossible. Evan activated the navigation controls. The ship lurched as it dove back toward the planet, through clouds of red dust and jagged crystals. The hunters' forces could already be seen moving, a storm of movement, armor, and energy weapons. The girl watched silently, fear mixed with admiration. She had never seen such calm in the face of danger. The ship landed near the canyon, engines cutting out with a soft hiss. Evan moved first, limping but steady. The girl followed, gripping the coat tighter. She would not leave his side. The hunters had set up a perimeter. Towers with glowing weapons scanned the field. Their leader waited, tall and cruel, confident in victory. Evan signaled to the girl, "Stay behind me." She nodded, understanding the unspoken command, "Humans, protect first." Always he activated small devices he had hidden in the ship. Old human tech, simple, underestimated, and deadly in the right hands. Explosions rocked the field. Energy shields flickered. The hunters staggered, unsure. Humans did not act like they expected. Girl gasped as she saw the humans' tactics. They moved through the chaos, silent, precise, clever, not fighting blindly, but using strategy, timing, and the environment. One hunter charged at Evan, massive, armored. Confident, Evan ducked and rolled, using a shard of crystal as leverage. A pulse shot disabled the hunter's armor. It fell. Stunned but alive, the leader screamed. Furious, the remaining hunters regrouped. But the humans had already predicted their moves. Every attack countered. Every path anticipated. The girl's fear began to turn into awe. Humans were not just strong. They were unstoppable, because they thought differently, because they did not give up, because they fought for more than themselves. Suddenly, a powerful shockwave knocked Evan to the ground. The girl screamed. He groaned, pain cutting through him, but he lifted himself slowly, ignoring the agony. "This is it," he said to the girl. "Now we finish this." Together they moved, the girl now part of the plan, following his instructions with precision. She had learned from watching. Learning quickly had become survival. The hunter's leader tried one final attack, charging with everything left, But Evan anticipated the move, a careful feint, a well-placed device, and the leader was trapped, disarmed, defeated. The field fell silent, broken only by heavy breathing. The remaining hunters fled or surrendered. Evan leaned against a crystal rock, bloodied, battered, but victorious. The girl stepped forward. Unsure, is it over? Evan nodded, a faint smile on his lips for now. But we must be ready. The galaxy never stops hunting humans. She looked at him and understood. Humans survived not because they were the strongest, not because they had the best weapons, but because they refused to give up, because they protected others, because they never stopped thinking, planning, acting. The girl wrapped the coat tightly around herself and Evan, feeling warmth not just from the fabric, but from the spirit of humanity itself. And as the red crystals glowed in the distance, the girl realized the galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries, and now she had seen the reason why they should never be underestimated again. The silence after the battle did not last long. The red glow from the crystals faded, but shadows moved across the canyon. Evan felt it immediately. The hunters were regrouping. Stronger forces were coming from the mountains, ships and patrols, unseen. Until now he helped the alien girl to her feet. Her small body was trembling, not from cold, but from the weight of fear and adrenaline. You must trust me, he said softly. She nodded without words. The ship that had rescued them earlier could not follow, too damaged, too slow, too risky. They had no choice but to face what was coming on foot. The canyon would become their battlefields. Evan checked his weapons, few shots left. Almost no explosives. Everything depended on strategy. His mind raced faster than his body could move. The hunters would expect a retreat, but there would be none from the cliff above. Shadows fell. Massive alien warriors dropped silently, their armor glinting in the red light. The leader who had been defeated before appeared again, anger radiating from every movement. Evan moved carefully, leading the girl through narrow passages, each step calculated, every turn a potential trap. He stopped and pointed. Here. They will fall for it. The girl watched, heart pounding. She had never felt this tension. Her species fought in groups, relying on numbers and brute force. Humans fought differently. They fought with thought, with patience, with courage. The first wave of hunters fell exactly as Evan predicted. Hidden pits, traps triggered by pressure plates, energy nets that slowed their advance. The remaining hunters hesitated. Confusion was a weapon humans used naturally. Evan signaled the girl. She stepped forward, using what he taught her, small devices, thrown with precision, disabling enemy armor, creating openings. She was no longer just a victim. She had become a participant, a protector, a fighter. The leader roared from the cliff above, sending a shockwave that knocked them both to the ground. Evan groaned, pain tearing through him, but he lifted himself again. Every movement measured. Humans survive by standing when others fall. They reached the open field in the center of the canyon. The hunters were fewer now, but more dangerous. They had realized tactics alone would not work. Now they fought with desperation and raw strength. Evan grabbed a shard of crystal from the ground, using it as leverage, as a weapon. He moved faster than the eye could follow, every strike precise, disabling rather than killing. The girl followed, each move echoing his training. Her small hands and quick reflexes turned into deadly tools. The hunters charged together, attempting to overwhelm them. Evan anticipated the pattern. The canyon became a trap for those who thought strength alone would win. Crystals shifted under pressure, falling to block escape routes. Energy pulses disabled weapons. The humans were everywhere, and nowhere at once. The leader tried to strike Evan directly, powerful and fast. But Evan was ready. He sidestepped, twisted, and used the terrain against him. The leader fell into one of the pits, trapped, screaming in frustration. The remaining hunters froze, their morale shattered. Evan and the girl stood together in the center of the canyon, breathing heavily, bloodied, bruised, but victorious. The hunters who could move fled into the mountains, defeated not by numbers, but by wit and courage. The girl looked at Evan, awe in her eyes. Humans do not fight like anyone else. They survive because they adapt, because They protect because they refuse to quit. Evan placed a hand on her shoulder. We are not done yet. The galaxy is big. And there are more like them. But for now, we won. The canyon was silent again. Broken only by distant winds, red crystals glowed faintly, as if acknowledging the victory. The girl wrapped the coat tightly around herself, and Evan feeling warmth not just from the fabric, but from the courage and determination of a species that refused to be defeated. High above, stars shone cold and distant, but for the first time, the girl saw hope, not just survival, but triumph. Humans could fight, endure, and protect. They were more than anyone had believed. Evan looked at the horizon. Thinking of the next challenge, he knew the hunters would regroup. The galaxy would continue to underestimate humans, but he also knew something stronger than weapons or armor: human spirit, and he would carry it forward, not just for himself, but for the girl, for the galaxy, for the truth that humans could never be ignored. The canyon was quiet now. Only the soft hum of the wind moving through red crystals filled the air. Evan sat on a fallen rock, exhausted but alert. The alien girl crouched beside him, wrapped tightly in the coat that had saved her life. Her glowing eyes scanned the horizon, still wary of any returning hunters. The ship was repaired enough to take off, but Evan had refused to leave the planet immediately. There was something he wanted to do first. He wanted to make sure the survivors, those hidden underground, were safe. The girl looked at him. Why do you care about them? Evan smiled faintly. Because no one should be left behind. That is what humans do. They moved slowly through the canyon, careful of traps that had been left behind by the fleeing hunters. Evan taught the girl how to step lightly, how to listen to the vibrations in the ground, how to spot danger before it appeared. They reached a small settlement hidden under a thick rock overhang. A few alien families lived there. Scared and starving, their weapons and devices broken, they froze when they saw Evan. Afraid of humans, Evan knelt down and spoke gently. We are here to help. The girl translated for them, her voice steady. No more fear, only hope. The humans and aliens worked together to repair the settlement. Evan showed them how to use old tools and simple techniques. The girl learned quickly, passing the instructions to others. The once hidden colony began to look alive again as the sun rose over the red crystal canyon. Evan and the girl stood on a high rock, looking down at the small settlement below. The aliens were safe, the hunters defeated or gone. The galaxy could no longer claim humans were weak. The girl turned to Evan. Do you ever stop fighting? Evan shook his head slowly. No, not until everyone has a chance to survive. Not until hope exists. She nodded, understanding the truth in his words. Humans did not fight for glory. They fought because it was right, because courage mattered more than size or strength, because protecting others was stronger than any weapon. The settlement began to thrive under their guidance. The aliens taught Evan and the girl about the planet, its secrets, its dangers, its resources. Evan shared human knowledge in return. Simple methods that changed the way the colony survived. In the distance, the red crystals glimmered in the sunlight. Bird-like creatures flew across the sky, some curious, some wary. The canyon felt alive for the first time in decades. Evan helped the girl climb a small cliff to get a better view from there. They could see far beyond the canyon, the mountains, the valleys, and the glowing horizon. The galaxy was vast, full of danger, full of unknowns. But now the girl understood that humans would meet it with courage. She looked at Evan. Will humans always be like this? He laughed softly. Yes. And some of us will always fight, not for ourselves, but for others. The girl hugged the coat tightly. She felt warmth in a way she had never known. It was more than fabric. It was protection, kindness and strength combined. It was what humans carried within themselves. Evan helped her down from the cliff. They walked back to the settlement. The aliens gathered to thank them. They spoke in a chorus of words. Gratitude, relief, hope. Evan nodded. No thanks needed, just survive, be strong, and remember. The girl looked at the settlement below, at the humans and aliens working together, at the canyon that had once been a battlefield and was now a home. She realized humans could change more than just a fight. They could change hearts, minds, and worlds. The sun set over the canyon, shadows stretched across the red crystals, painting the rocks with gold and crimson. Evan and the girl stood together, watching the sky grow dark. Somewhere far away, other humans were listening to the same call, other colonies, other planets. The galaxy would never forget the courage of one scout and a small human heart. And the girl knew she would carry this story forever. Humans survived not because they were the strongest, not because they had the largest armies, but because they refused to stop, refused to abandon others, and refused to let fear control them. The canyon was quiet now, but in the hearts of the girl and the surviving aliens, and in Evan's battered, determined body, a light burned, bright hope, courage, and humanity's spirit. The galaxy had seen it, and it would never look at humans the same way again.